Welcome to this new episode of the Are You Listening podcast, brought to you by New Amendment. Geo, was good?
What's up, my boy? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How's everything with you?
Skills clinic on Saturday. So had a bunch of kids, had like 50 kids show up. So that was like my first time hosting like a big skills clinic doing basketball training. So it was fun and you know, the kids got better. So it was great. What about you, man? What you been up to?
It was a busy week, man, per usual. Just doing normal 9-to-5 stuff, working in finance here in the city, and then networking, always networking. I'm trying to get some stuff moving and shaking with the media build out that I'm trying to focus on too. And then RU basketball stuff. So a couple of games, obviously, roller coaster, February, that time of the year, where you can be up one game and have the expectations of coming in and being able to walk out with an easy dub and it just doesn't go your way. And then you can lose that game and then be fighting for your life in the next one. And that's the case that we had on our hands, man. So let's just jump right into it with the scouting report, RU versus, let's just jump right into it with the X's and O's. RU versus Nebraska. We talked about this in the last episode as one in which we both assumed that it was going to be easy for RU.
Making some bold predictions, too.
I know. You talk about living and learning, man. That was a really good example of that. But long story short, RU takes on the Cornhuskers for the one and only matchup this season at Jersey Mike's Arena. And Nebraska came in and was playing no games, man. Shot over 50% from the field against Rutgers to pull away for an 82-72 win. Nebraska was the only third team to better their season average in scoring against Rutgers this season, and the first to do so at Rutgers home court. And they had 12 three-pointers, man. So obviously we'll get into Tominaga, but it was an all-hands-on-deck affair. What did you see from your perspective?
I mean, Nebraska was running elite offense, full-speed offense. They got guys moving. Tominaga was coming off screens like he was Steph Curry. It was crazy, man. But you know, credit to Nebraska. I thought they came in with a really good game plan to get Rutgers defense moving. I thought they did a good job switching up man and matchup zone a little bit to hide Tominaga on defense as well to keep him in the game. But from Rutgers' perspective, you just got to play better defense. I think it was like their worst 2-point defense in I forgot how many years it was. I saw a stat somewhere. I think it was like 14 years. Something crazy where they hadn't played that bad a 2-point defense in a very, very long time. So, just knowing who you are for Rutgers and knowing your identity and what you're supposed to be doing on the defensive end of the court, they didn't do that against Nebraska, so it hurt them a lot. Yeah,
and 65 points or 65 miles per hour, however you want to slice and dice it, has been that threshold where RU operate. If you're below, they're really good. They win a ton of games. If teams or opposing groups come in and they break that threshold and they score more than 65 points, then it's become problematic for RU. 82 points from anybody, especially from home, is something crazy, but it is what it is. RU trailed 40-35 at the break. Andre Hyatt, if there's any silver lining, some of the pros for RU, he was balling, man. He had a career-high 24 points, drilled 5 of 9 three-pointers on the night. Cliff had another double-dub. Although they were really focusing on him very well and then sending the double, which I think he could have been even more effective if he was finding ways to operate in a one-on-one capacity. But Nebraska had a really good game plan for him. Caleb McConnell, another multi-steal game, reached 200 career steals and 17 away from breaking Eddie Jordan's record for number one in RU history, and Derek Simpson, 10 points off the bench. So some good things from RU as well, but Nebraska really, really scored the ball well.
Yeah, they really scored the ball well, man. I mean, and like, it's the thing, you just named a bunch of positives on the offensive side of things for Rutgers. Like, offense wasn't the problem. And, I keep seeing all these, message boards, tweets, people are messaging me on Instagram, like, can you help these guys? Like, we have no go-to scorer, or we don't have this or that, and everyone keeps talking about offense. It's like, offense wasn't the problem, and it's when their defense isn't up to par with that elite level that we know that they can play. And we saw it again with Nebraska. Like, offense was fine. Andre Hyatt was playing like a superstar. Like, he had the best offensive game I've ever seen him have in his career, especially at Rutgers. And but that's not the issue here. And I think that the guys are starting to see that too, especially as, they continue to move forward. We saw with Wisconsin, they got back to playing that Rutgers defense.
Yeah, man. And just to pause for a moment before we transition over to the most recent game, you come in on the heels of 2 consecutive losses, one to Indiana, one to Illinois for RU. So you needed that W against Nebraska, and everybody expected for you to get it. And to lose it, to your point, the sky started falling, I think, for the fan base, for the media. People were questioning if everything was going to come to an abrupt halt for RU's expectations from a postseason play standpoint this year, and you lose it. And that's obviously a testament to the ability of Tominaga, 22 points, and Derek Walker, who had 16 points, was very efficient. And CJ Wilcher, a local kid who really locked in on doing his things with 17 points as well. They came in, heard the noise, and was able to get a dub on the road. Tough fought, so credit to them. But 3 straight losses for RU as a result of that, and that changes the whole dynamic of the season in an instance. Have you ever been in a situation in the locker room, specifically at RU or anywhere else, where coming into a game, everything is smooth sailing, copacetic, and then you shit the bed a little bit, and then ultimately at the end of it, as a takeaway, you really got to lock in and make sure that you start to control your own destiny?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I've been in, and you probably have too, just, almost every position you could think of that these guys have been in. But my thing, and I said this during the game, was like, it had that energy where it seemed like Rutgers knew they were supposed to win the game, and they were just kind of waiting for it to just happen, where like, oh, we're going to turn it around eventually. And, you felt that energy in the crowd. Like, the rack wasn't the same that it usually is. It wasn't like extremely loud the entire time. And part of that was they just weren't getting stops. I think the rack always feeds off of the energy of defense. But like, you could just feel it in the crowd with the team. Like, they were supposed to win that game, and it just never really turned on. It seemed like you just kept feeling like, oh, eventually we're going to turn it around. And I've had those moments too. Like, there's been games where, it felt like we were supposed to win, and eventually we're going to win. And we're only down 5. Like, okay, let's turn it up right now. And we're only down 10. Like, okay, now's the moment. And it's just like you never actually get to that moment where you do turn it around, and then you look up and there's only 3 minutes left and it's too late. And I think we saw a little bit of that against Nebraska, and but credit to these guys for, I know we're on a little pause before Wisconsin, but credit to these guys for being able to turn it around and understand what they were doing wrong against Nebraska.
Agreed, man. Agreed. And that's a really good point for a lot of hoopers to take note of as a takeaway here. Don't say hello when it's time to say goodbye, especially if you try to turn things on when it's 5 minutes under the left and you're down 10 points. It's just, guys are too good at this level. You really got to control your own destiny right from the jump and the get-go, and make sure that you're executing and locked into your game plan to win the games that you're slated to win against teams that, arguably that are just not as talented as you are. So tough loss, but I would imagine, and hearing, some of the feedback and preparation in the locker room heading into the Wisconsin game, which we'll pivot to. RU loses against Nebraska, slides them down in the Big Ten Conference standings, and puts them right into the meat of the pack, if you will. Pause. And then you also are now in a situation where you're fighting against a Wisconsin team that's within striking distance, and they're also playing for their own destiny. You head out to Madison for an early tip at the Kohl Center. It's 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. noon. So you know how that goes. No shoot around the night before, no shoot around day of, and you're coming in, and the only time that you're able to warm up is the couple minutes when you get to the Kohl Center. I'm calling the game on the sideline right there next to the bench just to kind of set the scene. RU, obviously, the rah-rah's there. The anticipation's really high because they got to stop this 3-game skid. And Caleb McConnell goes down, bends down, and like tweaks something in his back. So you come in with a game plan to have arguably the National Defensive Player of the Year in the lineup. And, 5 minutes before tip, he's out for the entirety of the game. So you got to scramble last minute, and Oscar Palmquist gets thrusted into the lineup.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I was doing my clinic too when I heard the news, because I'm asking some of the parents like on the sideline like for like little updates, like, oh, can you let me know? And the first thing they say is, Caleb's not out there. And I thought they just meant like, he was in foul trouble or something like that because it was early. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, no, like he didn't even start. Like they had Oscar starting. So that's just something on the fly that you can't even really,
Nope.
you don't have time to adjust for. Like there wasn't a practice, knowing that he's not playing. And credit to these guys for, credit to Oscar being able to just step in his first time ever starting, in a Rutgers uniform. So credit to him, credit to all the guys for being able to step up, having that mental toughness to, still understand that you need to win this game. This is a game that you cannot lose if you're trying to make the NCAA tournament, if you're trying to solidify yourself as a top half Big Ten team. And they stuck to the game plan, right? The game plan still works even if you don't have Caleb in the lineup. And I think that these guys all were mature enough to understand
a coach that I had
and to still follow.
Once was always adamant about the statement that you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And the adversity that this team has been through over the last couple of weeks has been substantial. After the Mawat Mag injury, they've been obviously reeling a bit, trying to identify how they are going to fill that void, shuffle around, and continue to do what they did very well to help them get to this point, which was changing up their defenses and applying a lot of pressure. So that changes up a lot of different things. And to the point of Oscar Palmquist being implemented into this lineup in a matter of seconds, this is a guy that up until maybe 3 or 4 games ago had only played 10 minutes the entire season.
Yeah.
Like, this is not somebody that's been in the rotation consistently. So to be called upon and to, have the scout down and to have the defensive rotations top of mind and to be connected with your guys, it just shows you how you never know when your opportunity is going to come, but you must be prepared. So I really enjoyed seeing that. Coach Carl Hobbs had the scout, and you know how that goes, man. I'm sitting in there after 2 game skid. He's serious and he's locked in and he wants to get this dub. And he's a head coach. He's a head coach as the associate head coach. So he knows how to get his guys going. Focused in on how, obviously, you say this a lot, you got to be 10 points better on the road to beat any opposing, to any home team that you're walking into a hostile environment. He talked about how he wanted to see the bench up and loud and vibrant as ever in the early starts, and then how you really got to focus in on keeping the ball out of Wall and Crowell's hands in the post, because if they get to 5, 6, 7 dribbles getting into their rhythm, that's when they start spraying and facilitating all around the court. So there was a lot of doubling. There was a lot of communicating. There was a lot of thinking, if you will, defensively for RU. And without Caleb McConnell, who's your best defensive player, it just created more of a strain for a lot of the younger guys who had to play more substantial moments in this contest.
Yeah, but you know what? They really didn't show it, though. They didn't show that they were strained. I thought that the defensive game plan worked perfectly. They seemed extremely connected. Like, it is not easy for those double teams. And Crowell and Tyler Wall, they weren't turning it over out of the post. Like, they were making the right passes, but guys were so connected, communicating. They were rotating. I was super impressed by everybody. And again, like you said, it's super hard without your defensive leader, your veteran guy like Caleb McConnell, and then not only just to add to that, but Watt Mag too, who's also out. So, those are 2 of your best defenders who, know how to communicate, know the system, know exactly what you're trying to do on the defensive side of things. And you have these young guys come in. They didn't seem strained at all. I thought they did a great job of sticking to the game plan, understanding what the scheme was. Everyone was connected. And that's a beautiful thing to see. And I think that's the Rutgers team that we've learned to love and that we've been seeing throughout the season.
To that point, Wisconsin's number 3 in the country in regards to being efficient and not turning a pill over. Only 9 turnovers a game, which is a staple and something that I think they've always done very well. Obviously, they're very slow, methodical from a pace standpoint, not very opportunistic and trying to get to that first transition opportunity, more secondary stuff. So there's a ton of action once they get into the half court where they get guys moving, and Chucky Hepburn has the rock in his hand, and then they look into the post to see how they're able to enter and then try to spread the floor. They had the 161st ranked offense in the country because of that pace and the cadence, but I think that that's very deceptive because they get a lot of scoring from multiple people, 4 guys averaging double figures. And then the 27th ranked defense as well. So a defensive slugfest was something that we were all anticipating, knowing how slow and grinded out this affair was going to be. But one player that I was really worried about coming into this contest was Connor Essegian.
Yeah.
He's a freshman who has a really quick release, and he really gets a lot of his action from within the flow of the offense, off down screens, hiding behind ball screen situations. And once he gets a glimpse at the basket, he's able to get it up. And RU really did a good job of making sure they were always in his airspace.
I thought they did a great job, and made it really tough for him. I know Coach Peichel is always excited when he's going up against a good freshman because he thinks that he can get him mentally with the toughness and the defense and the talking, communicating, and the smothering. And that's when we used to always get super excited because we knew that we could handle a very tough freshman. But I thought he got some good looks too. Like I
really
did.
Good looks.
They ran some good plays for him, and sometimes the shots just don't fall, and he understands that for sure. It didn't really seem like he was letting the missed shots get to him, which I was impressed with a lot too. But I thought overall the game plan for him went really well, and the guy stepped up and just made defensive plays. But I want to give a shout out to my guy Cam Spencer too on the offensive side of things, man, because there's been a lot of chatter about his being in a slump, or he's not going to come out of it, or maybe he shouldn't be starting, or all these different things that I keep seeing. Again, I'm a Twitter guy. I'm on the message boards. All these things of everyone's saying different stuff about him. My guy stepped up and made big shots. Especially in that first half, just shot after shot, and he did it with confidence. And I think they did a better job of getting him open. And the shots weren't as difficult as they have been in the past. But just credit to him for staying with it, keeping that confidence. He was in the interview after the game. He was talking about just trusting the work that you put in. And, I just love to see that because I've seen the work that he's put in, and he absolutely deserves to shine on the biggest stage.
Easier said than done. Staying the course, especially when you deal with having down games and being in a shooting slump. So we really, really impressive. So now transitioning over to the scouting report segment of this episode, joined by Jordan Taylor. How are you doing first and foremost, my guy?
Man, I'm good. I don't know if I should be talking to y'all right now, but I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I'm over in London, and we just had a game, got a win, so we won on my end. But yeah, it's all good, man. How y'all doing?
Good, man. I'm glad y'all got a dub in some sense this weekend, man, because it was hard fought, though. We were talking about the adversity. I don't know if you got a chance to get this sense, but a couple minutes before the game, obviously this was a big one for both teams. RU and Wisconsin both needed it for conference implication standpoints and then NCAA tournament implications, too. Caleb McConnell was announced out of the lineup 5 minutes before tip. So RU had to completely change its approach at the last minute. And then we were talking about some of the things we recognized from the RU standpoint. Did you get any sense coming into this game? Talk to any guys from Wisconsin about how they were preparing and how big this game meant to them and how much they needed it?
Yeah. I mean, at Wisconsin, one of the things that we kind of preach is the game doesn't change. Coach Garr is really good at adjusting. And I think you kind of saw it was to take Cliff away for y'all. It's kind of make his life hard, kind of work y'all PG. I'm blanking on all. What's your
Paul
PG
McCahey.
name? Yeah, Paul McCahey. And that kind of backfired because big fella started hitting threes from everywhere in the first half. And it was cool to see him step up. But on our side, man, it was, it was one of those things where it's just kind of disappointing because you get a game at home against a Rutgers team who is playing well for the most part. And I think it would have been great for our tourney hopes. So it was disappointing on that side. But, you got to give hats off to y'all. Y'all have really adapted to the Big Ten style and Coach Peichel over there. He's doing an amazing job. Even going back to Geo, your last couple of years, you kind of with you and Ron, you started to see the transition to Rutgers basketball. So it hurts to lose that game, but it's also cool to see to have that competitive, another competitive animal in the Big Ten.
One thing I noticed quickly is how Wisconsin typically likes to control the pace by slowing things down and getting more so into secondary transition sets and trying to, I think, conclude the contest with having more possessions in hand than the opposing team. And RU is a group that really likes to full court press and speed the game up. Is this something a style that you played under when you were in Madison and something that's, still relevant today? And then how did you fare when you had groups that really like to try to get under your skin and make you play kind of outside of the pace that you like to operate within normally?
Yeah, I think, again, that's one of the things that's kind of a staple of Wisconsin basketball. I do think there's kind of a misconception, though, that, we intentionally slow there. If you can push it up the court and get a good shot, in the first 7 seconds, Coach Gard, Coach Ryan have always been open to that. I think that, you need wings, you need athletes out there to kind of push there to have that style, which I think is why you see Wisconsin's best teams come with athletes on the wing, whether it's Sam Decker, Orlando Tucker, Ray Nixon back in the day, way back. So yeah, but when teams press us and stuff, you're really not going to speed us up for the most part. Like that's one thing you're not going to do. And I think honestly that Wisconsin is better when they're playing with that pace and playing with that tempo. Instead of playing slow and stagnant. That second half got stagnant. I heard Andy Katz say on the mic, like, if Rutgers gets to 72, automatic win. Which I didn't necessarily agree with that point. I don't know the numbers behind that as well as he does. But when Wisconsin, Connor Season's running off screens and Max Klesman is moving freely and Chucky's getting in the paint, they're really good offensively, and defensively they're always going to play hard. So offensively is one of the things that if we can keep that tempo high, even if it's secondary offense, it's good for us.
Yeah, RU did a really good job with Chucky Hepburn specifically, foul trouble throughout the entirety of the contest. Tyler Wall, 7 points. He was very effective in certain ways, but obviously not getting to that season average for him and Chucky became problematic. And I think that sometimes you pick your poison, and allowing Jordan Davis and Kamari McGee to be the leading scorers for Wisconsin. Jordan Davis with 14 points. McGee knocked down a couple of tray balls, and coming into this game, he was 0 for 1 over the last 5 from the 3. So you take away, obviously, what Wisconsin does very well and allow some of these other guys to free roam. And if they beat you, then they beat you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you guys know the later in the season you get, you've played guys one time for the most part. You, at the very least, you've been watching on TV. So you know what guys' strengths and weaknesses are, and the coaches know. So you're trying to take out the best players, and I think, honestly, that's the best. Connor's season was 0 for 10 against y'all. That was his worst. So, yeah, so between him and Chucky, I don't remember exactly what it was, maybe like 2 for 17 or something like that. Even Steven Crowd didn't really get going. So, you need guys like Jordan Davis, and then on y'all side as well. Like I said, Cam Spencer had 19 first half points.
Yeah, he was balling.
Paul Mulcahy, I don't think he had his best game. He was solid as always, but I wouldn't say it was his best game. So it's big for those role players to step up, man. And on our side, they did that. On your side, they did that. And really, it came down to a last possession, and y'all made more plays than we did. That's just Cliff Amore with that crazy block. I don't know how he got to that.
That was insane.
That was high level.
That was insane.
We didn't talk
see,
about that. That was. Did you see the screenshot of like where he was before, like on the catch?
Before he had to get back out to Essegian, he also disrupted the dribble drive and defended vertically without fouling.
Yep.
Tipped it out to Essegian, and from the paint found a way to get out there and get a fingertip on that. That was high level athleticism for sure.
It was NBA level athleticism to be able to do that. And to your point, he defended the dribble drive off of an offensive rebound. So that's a scramble closeout situation. You're closing out, slide with the guy in the paint, and then get back to a shooter with the quick release. That was crazy. But I got to give Wisconsin credit, like Connor Season just having, he's unconscious for us, man. Like, he missed the floater. He's 0 for 10, and he was about to let that last one fly with no hesitation, too. So it's like, again, y'all both know how, to not second guess that at all is next level, too. But, that block was, that's one of those ones where it made me sick, but I was also like, oh, damn. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but no, it was tough.
So putting yourself like in the perspective, putting yourself in their perspective now, how do you move forward if you're Wisconsin? Like, what's the mindset moving forward if you're still trying to make the NCAA tournament? I think they're 7-9 right now. I think they're 11th.
I think the mindset is no different. Like, it's the next 40. It's the next game. We're gonna have ample opportunity. It's the Big Ten, so obviously everybody's been beating each other up. I think we've all talked about it. But we have Iowa at home, which is I believe should be a quad 1 win. We'd have Michigan. One of those is a quad 1 win, and then we have at Michigan, and then we have Purdue at home,
Yeah.
who's the number one team in the country, who is very good. But as you guys know, you've done it twice in 2 years in a row now, right? Beat them. So they're a beatable team. So it's one of those things where you don't panic, and then you got the Big Ten tournament. So, I still think they're in a good position. Obviously, they're not going to be a 6 seed or a 5 seed, but you're still in a great position. We mentioned on our podcast, my freshman year, very similar situation. We lost 6 games in a row in the Big Ten at one point, ended up sneaking in as a 12 seed, almost got to the regional semifinal, almost got to the Sweet 16. So it's not a panic situation. You just got to go take care of business. And like I said, as we've seen, anybody can beat anybody in the Big Ten this year. So
right now, they're slated as a 12 seed, last 4 in. RU slated as a 7 seed. This is as relevant as this morning. So, again, we were talking about the Scarlet Knights controlling their own destiny. What do you think the mantra and the message and the go-ahead mentality is for Wisconsin, knowing that each game is pivotal from this point on?
Just focus on each possession, each half, each game, and that's all you can do. That's all you can't worry about. I still think Wisconsin controls their own destiny. I think that if they win the game, if they, like I said, beat Purdue and win the games at home, take care of Minnesota, and then whatever, get an 11 seed and go to the Big Ten tournament and win one, then for sure they're in my eyes. So it's really just lock in. They've had a bunch of injuries. This team, we were ranked 14th in the country at one point, man. You know what I'm saying? So I think Tyler Wall is still getting his feet underneath him from that ankle injury. It's a good sign to see Kamari McGee and Jordan Davis step in. And Kamari McGee hit a 3 to put us up 3 yesterday. Yep. And no disrespect to him. He's a good kid. I know him personally. He's from Racine, where my mom is from. He's virtually had no impact for us this year. So this is a compliment to him when I say he came in and hit that 3 like he been out there averaging 15, 18 points a game. He shot it with no hesitation. So now you have those guys playing well. You got to get Tyler and Steven and Chucky and Connor going, and I think you're confident about where you're at.
Yeah, and I think these guys know what it takes too. I mean, you talk about Chucky, Tyler, Steven, these are guys who, they won plenty of games last year too, so they know what it takes down the stretch, and that's what you always need, especially in a league like the Big Ten where everyone's kind of beating up on each other.
I would not. Rutgers is not a team I would want to see if I'm Wisconsin, though, in the Big Ten tournament. If you need a win for y'all, just y'all style of play is very, like I said, Coach Peichel. I think he's done an amazing job, and Geo, correct me if I'm wrong, but done an amazing job at kind of bringing that East Coast style to the Big Ten. He's integrated the Big Ten, whatever grit, toughness, whatever cliche words you want to use, but also kept the skill set and the talent, the pace of that East Coast in the program, which, I think is difficult because you've seen guys like Richard Pitino come to Minnesota and try and do something similar and fail at it. Or not fail, but not do as well. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for the job he's done. And I hope he doesn't leave Rutgers. I don't know what the situation is to go to a bigger school, but
we hope, man. Fingers crossed. Obviously,
he's staying, man.
How's the fan base been? Like during this time of year, ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and maybe relating it back to, how your experience was. But we always talk about how you got to try to train the folks that support you to stay even keel through ups and downs.
Yeah. And you know what? I want you to answer that question after, because I know East Coast fans are crazy as hell. So but what's crazy is Wisconsin fans are normally pretty. I guess what's the word I'm looking for? They're pretty even keeled. When I was there, Coach Ryan, for whatever reason, they just respected the hell out of Coach Ryan, and he could do no wrong. Which, I mean, obviously I say for whatever reason, but he earned that to a degree. But we had Mike DeCourcy on our show talking about it, and the fans with Coach Gard have zero patience. They're not zero, but they have much less patience, and it's really confusing to me because he's kept the status quo that Coach Ryan kept the entire time. Like, he's won 2 Big Ten titles. He only missed the tournament once, which Coach Ryan never did, but he's finished in the top 4 for the most part in the Big Ten almost every year and had good teams. So I don't know if it's because Coach Ryan had 2 Final Four teams, which was somewhat of an anomaly, and then left. But it's weird. It's weird to see the fans kind of be so impatient with Coach Gard, especially given they just won a Big Ten title last year. So.
No, I think it's definitely the fact about those 2 Final Four teams. Like once you get to that level, now it's like because like with Rutgers, for example, once we made the NCAA tournament, now it's okay. That's the expectation. And if it feels like we're not about to get to it, then that's when everyone starts panicking, getting to the, being impatient, like you were saying. So I could definitely understand where that's coming from. But yeah, the East Coast fans though is different. It's different. I'll let Austin start it off with that, but it's definitely different.
I challenge that, G. I would like to hear your perspective on what's going on, and obviously not to speculate with anything, but just seeing the numbers and the outputs from a wins and losses standpoint at Ohio State, because this team is definitely better than I think, in my opinion, than what their record is showing. But they're struggling. They're down right now, I think 9 consecutive losses. You got Chris Holtmann, who is a great coach. And obviously, how's the fan base going to react after this season? Are they patient with the process? He's won already in Columbus, and not to fail to remember that you had Thad Matta there, who had tremendous success as well. And there were rumblings after he wasn't able to get to a national championship. Like, be careful what you wish for, I think, is what I'm trying to get to at the end of the day. Because when you have coaches that are having success at this level and able to even get you to the NCAA tournament, you got to understand how hard that is and how quickly things can change in the matter of a new regime coming in and not being able to replicate, the previous successes of other coaches as well. So interested to hear both of your takes on what's going on at Ohio State. What do you think the offseason will be like? And just considering that they've had some down and some struggles and things of that nature, and what the response will be.
I mean, man, I think, and I won't act like I've paid the most attention to their situation, but from everything I can see, it's tough when you have a freshman point guard. So, the point guard obviously is going to be your leader of the team. That's just how it goes. Doesn't matter if he wants to be or if he doesn't want to be. Point guard's going to be a leader. Your best player, Sensabaugh, also a freshman. So you got 2 guys who have never been in this situation before who are, technically supposed to be the leaders of your team. And that's tough. Like that's not easy. So I think for those guys, that's just a situation that they've never been in before. Super hard for them. For the fan base, you got to try to understand that and see that. Listen, you have 2 freshman leaders that are trying to take this team to new heights, and obviously they're failing at it right now. But it's a learning curve, and you got to be able to understand that Coach Holtmann is a good coach, and Ohio State has been great in the past, and to be patient with it. But I mean, that's tough, man. Like, losing that many games in a row, you expected a lot preseason coming in. Bryce Sensabaugh is a very good basketball player. You expected him to be a superstar in a league full of superstars, and it just hasn't clicked for him. So I can understand if they are impatient right now.
Are we saying that Ohio State's the East Coast? I know this is are we saying Ohio State's East Coast? Was that the challenge?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Are we saying Ohio State's East Coast?
I changed the whole topic, bro. My bad.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. I didn't know. Okay, I wasn't sure. I just wanted to be clear, but before I answer this question,
I thought we did the East Coast conversation. That's
okay. All right, cool. I just wanted to be clear before I answer. But nah, man, honestly, I'm gonna give you I think Chris Holtmann might be fine because, let's face it, Ohio State's a football school. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, to circle it back to it, part of the reason Coach Gard has fired is because they just hired Luke Fickell coming from Cincinnati, and he's making big splashes in recruiting, which is kind of the anti-Wisconsin historically, just the way the programs are run. He's bringing in mobile quarterbacks, changing up the style. It's going to be more entertaining. So I think that's part of the reason. But Ohio State, man, they're a football school. I think he'll get a chance to kind of turn it around. Obviously, I haven't paid crazy attention to that situation as well. But like you said, we could ask our boss Evan Turner. He might not agree, but ain't nobody checking for them. Ain't nobody checking for them basketball dudes, man.
Right now.
Yeah. You've been quiet lately, yo.
You've been super quiet.
Nah.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
You say anything to ET about how bad Ohio State is? He's just gonna talk about what's on his wrist or something like that.
Oh,
He's gonna be petty. He's gonna be petty, man.
Well, we got a couple of bets to make sure we make up for over the last couple of weeks because RU got that lick back against them recently as well. So we got to catch ET soon.
Nah, they doo-doo, man, and let it be told they was doo-doo when he was there. He was cold, you know what I'm saying? He won National Player of the Year, obviously number 2 overall pick. He's great, But dude, them dudes was them. Yeah, I know. We got producers from Ohio State too. So them dudes was doo-doo, man. Them dudes 8 seeds, 4 seeds. That's what I'm saying. But it's all good. He'll get a chance to turn around.
Put on his black Air Forces this morning, coming with that energy.
Yeah, I do got them. I will put them on. Look, yeah, I got them on right now. Not Air Forces, but we all black today. We all black.
I feel you. That's how we're feeling today.
Man. I love it. What do you think it takes for Wisconsin to solidify over the next couple of games? They got some tough. From your prediction, which games do they need to win? Which games do they need to lose? And then we'll talk about it from the RU perspective of what they need to do, I think, to really kind of solidify getting into the tournament and getting a good seed in the Big Ten tournament as well.
Yeah. Wisconsin, it's obviously Purdue. I think so. We actually had this debate, John and myself, on our show the other day. He thinks that you can lose to Purdue, beat Michigan, Minnesota, and Iowa and be good. I think that leaves it up to chance. I think if you beat Iowa at home and you beat Purdue and then obviously Minnesota, I think you're in. I think Wisconsin's in. I think that gives you 6 or 7 quad one wins. Going to the tournament, have a solid showing in the tournament. If you win one in the tournament, obviously. But I think you get that Purdue game and the Iowa game and assume you're going to get Minnesota. I think they're a shoo-in.
Right now, Rutgers is tied in conference with Michigan at 9-7, and their next 4 games are all teams that are currently slated at 9 or below in the conference overall standings, with Michigan, Penn State, Minnesota, besides Northwestern. So let me stop lying and take that back. Northwestern has shot up over the last couple of games. So 4 winnable contests, starting off with Michigan to be able to create some separation at home at Jersey Mike's Arena. I think that they can get a dub, but always an interesting matchup. Penn State on the road, we'll see. Minnesota, I think, is a dub, and then Northwestern is going to be tough too. Gio, what you think?
I think we just need 2. I think we need 2 wins and we're good. We have a solid resume. We already beat Northwestern on the road, already beat Purdue on the road. Got plenty of good wins, good resume building wins. Not a ton of very bad losses. Maybe all the way back to non-conference, losing to Temple, and you could count Seton Hall as well, I guess. But 2 more wins, you're sitting at 11-9 in conference play. I think you feel pretty good from a Rutgers perspective. So, want to take care of Minnesota, of course. That's one that that's a resume hurting loss that you just don't want to have. But other than that, I think if you get one more on top of that, I think Rutgers is all good.
Love it.
Yeah. Matter of fact, y'all doo-doo too for losing to Minnesota. I take that back, man.
Oh no, we didn't lose to Minnesota.
Oh, you said? Oh, I thought you said Minnesota. Who y'all lose to?
No, I said that. Nah, we lost to Temple though. That was bad.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say my fault. My fault.
Wisconsin schedule, bro.
We blew Minnesota out the water, man.
Okay, I was gonna say because we were talking to Trev and them over there. We was about to cancel their podcast because it's like, man, y'all kick y'all out the Big Ten, man. Y'all struggling. Yeah, I'm struggling.
Listen. If you saw the game against Rutgers, Minnesota versus Rutgers, it literally looked like shooting practice for Rutgers. It was the worst defense I have ever seen in a college basketball game. And I played against some bad college basketball teams. Like Coach Peichel is known for stacking that non-conference schedule, some soft teams. Like, listen, that Minnesota defense was the worst defense I have ever seen in a college basketball game.
It was bad.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Man, I hate it. I hate it too because I grew up playing against those, watching Ben Johnson and playing against Coach Thorson. He coached at De La Salle when I was there, so I hate that for them, and I hope that they turn that situation around. But yeah, they some poo butt right now, man. That's
you talking real spicy against the place that you call home, bro. You better remain loyal to your soil. Stop playing.
Hey man, I cheer for the Vikings and the Badgers. I don't know nothing about that maroon and gold. They ain't got nothing to do with me. So I want, like I said, the people involved, good people, good men. So I hope it works out for them. But as far as the rivalry goes, bleep them. You know how it go.
Respect that, and shout out to Trev too. Good dude.
Nah, Trev talk too much. Nah, that's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. Shout out to Trev for sure.
You're a wild boy, man. How's everything and transitioning away? Obviously, really good dub for RU. Needed it, and some winnable games on the horizon. So good stuff there. And pivoting to now our word on campus segment. Now that we have you online and you're overseas. How's it been for you this year? Obviously, we've come across one another, dating back to last summer in the media space, and any updates with you in regards to what's on the horizon for next steps, how everything's been going this season for you, playing with some teammates and things of that nature, and then anything about the recent earthquakes over in Turkey, man. You know, anybody that's playing over there and how, you know, the response has been, and those are some of the things that you got to deal with as an overseas professional.
Yeah, man. It's been, and before I'm gonna answer your question, but I also wanted to just say that Rutgers, y'all worried about too. Like, y'all playing for seeding at this point in my eyes. Like, y'all should be able, if y'all can make some noise in the Big Ten tournament, you're looking at like a 4 or 5 seed, right? Yeah. But anyway, overseas, man, it's great. I was able to get to the London Lions. I'm playing with Wisconsin alum and great Sam Decker. So we won the British League Cup. And we just qualified for the Euro Cup playoffs, which is there's Euro League in Europe, and then Euro Cup, which is the next one after that. So that's exciting stuff. We have an All-American ownership, coach, GM. So it's fun, man. It's actually, you know, it's crazy getting back to playing. We play a different style than what's played in Europe. We play up-tempo, more of the American NBA style, which is foreign to me because I've been over here for so long. So I'm kind of adjusting back to that. And then as far as Turkey goes, man, obviously that's an unfortunate situation. Nigel Hayes is over in Fenerbahce in Istanbul playing, so I know he's close to the situation. But I've heard they're just, you know, the league was suspended for a short time, and they're just practicing on the basketball side, and then obviously trying to recover. But you know, Gaziantep is on the border of Syria. It's a further away from where I played in Turkey. But either way, you know, it's something that it's one of those things overseas where they just handle things like that differently. From a sports perspective, they're gonna tell you to keep practicing. It's thoughts and prayers. But obviously, you know, if anybody you know is affected, it's like, nah, you're gonna do your job normally. Yeah. So, which I understand, but it's other than that, it's as far as the media side, I'm just trying to finish the season up strong and see what happens next year. You know, obviously, when I'm done playing, I'll hopefully be going into an analyst role. But until I'm done playing for certain, we'll just kind of see. We'll kind of see what happens on that side.
How long you been playing now?
11 years, man. 11 years. So I had my bones hurt, man. I had 8 surgeries in 11 years. I just tore a ligament in my finger the other day, so I'm playing hurt right now. So, but yeah, man, grateful, blessed to play 11 years, and you know, had a lot of good experiences, a lot of countries, made a little money. So it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, what's been like your favorite part about the overseas journey, if there has been? I know it's super hard for a lot of guys. A lot of guys never really figure out a way to make that adjustment. But for you, like, what was your favorite part about it?
For me, honest, it's probably learning different cultures, and you realize, honestly, I'm gonna sound like you know, someone who left a bad relationship, but you realize how strong you are. You know what I'm saying? You realize like how adaptable you are, man, to different situations. I've been in, you know, it's not easy going from country to country, and you just learn how to fit in. You learn how to communicate when language isn't, when you don't share the same language, and all that. But for me, the best part has been the food. You know, you go, every place you go, it's always like a worry, like, am I gonna like the food there? And I've been in great cities, but you know, Tokyo has yakisoba, like everywhere has great food, so you enjoy the food, and just getting to know a different culture, specifically through food, has been the best part for me.
Keep it a buck. Is the food in the UK trash?
Nah, I mean, listen, London is New York, so it's like this London is it though?
Is it New York?
It's New York. It's better than New York. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's better than New York. It's better than New York, and I'm gonna tell you why. Especially from a food perspective, because in New York, hear me out. In New York, I know that's your city, but in New York, when you go into whatever it is, like let's just say Jamaica, Queens, you're in the Jamaican area, there's still that level of Americanization that exists in New York. Like they're Jamaican, but they're American for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like they just over here, they still American. Like over here, like Asian people Asian people here are Pakistani, Indian. Like I just feel like they're more connected to their own culture than they are to the American culture or the British culture than they are in New York. That's just my 2 cents, which is not a bad thing. That's just I enjoy that part of it. And they got everything
if you had to choose a place to settle down at and no strings attached, just considering what both different cities offer, you're choosing London over New York.
I would choose London.
All right.
I would choose London.
You thought he was going to get him.
I would choose.
You're not
listen, I would choose London. The people here, it might be, and there's the element of being in London. You're different. You're foreign here, so it's like the way you're treated.
You just want to be different now.
No, I was saying like you get the thing here. It's like, oh, you got an American accent. Where you from? I like your accent. You know, so I'm like, oh, do you? You know what I'm saying? So there's that element as well. There's just so much like. New York has culture, I get it, but New York has a lot of hip hop. Like, there's just so much culture in London. I feel like the culture in London is more expansive than it is in New York. You can go to Camden and get your little, you know what I'm saying? That's where the Beatles were sometimes. You can go down south to Brixton, get you your yard food, you know what I'm saying? You can go to Brick Lane, get your Indian food. Canary Wharf is like the financial district. Canary Wharf looks like Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? So and then you go into Central and you get the typical British architecture, man. I'm telling you.
You don't even sound like you believe what you're saying right now.
I absolutely. You see how in detail I'm going with this.
No, you went kind of detail on it. Look, I've been to England. I went to London one time in high school. I thought it was cool, man. I thought it was solid. They had some fire like breakfast beans. I don't know if you had those, but.
See, your gut health is bad. I ain't eating.
Nah, it'll tell you. I'll tell you. Nah, I'll tell you. It was fire though. It was fire. I'm not even like a big fan of New York, to be honest. I'm not a city dude. I don't like going to the city too much. So
you're not going to tolerate.
Why
do
you think New York is better than London? Like, what do you love about New York so much?
It's everything culturally, from a food standpoint, from an opportunity standpoint. It all originates in this city, I believe. I think that all things considered, the weather, when you look at the grand scale on a 12-month ongoing basis in London, is not that great. It's rainy.
Is it good?
At least you get on average 4 seasons here.
Is it good in New York?
In the summer, in the spring, it's phenomenal.
It's not awful.
It's nice in the summer, spring in London.
Is it though?
Yeah.
All right. How's the winters?
I feel like it's very rainy in London.
The winters are rainy.
On average, I feel like you probably deal with more rain.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, I'm from Minnesota, so that ain't gonna hurt my pride. You know what I'm saying? I'll deal with some rain. I'll be outside, no umbrella in the rain. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? Head up, head to the sky. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. I can deal with some rain. But
this typically happens whenever we have a conversation about anything. We just are on complete opposite ends of the equation. Whether it's Jordan, LeBron, whatever it is, we're just obviously going to combat on it. So we'll just put the period at the end of it, and you can pull up and build a life in London, bro.
I'll just say this: it's not just
like you're not staying in London. Like I feel like
you're not staying in London. I'll see you in New York next summer.
I'll give you this. You ask, and my dad always told me, if he always hit me with if I said the sky was blue, you'd say it was green. So trust me, it's not. I do play devil's advocate, but I do believe like London. I'm telling you, dog. London is
it's cool. It's a great city. I don't want it to be known like I don't appreciate it, but it's not better than New York, and that's just how we're gonna be rocking, because it's not better than New York.
It is.
I appreciate your perspective though.
We didn't even get into the women, but that's a different podcast.
New York's are better. Stop it.
I don't know.
Can't.
Stop it. New York's are better.
Can't.
All right.
A lot of hats.
We'll save that for another segment,
bro. New York women are mean.
Right.
I don't care.
Ain't they?
They're mean.
Rude, aggressive. Like, New York women are aggressive for no reason. Beautiful women. But I'm saying London women, they go, they dress classy, they dress nice, they gonna talk to you no matter, they gonna be kind, you know what I'm saying? Nah, you wildin' for that. New York women,
Yo, Jordan, you about to not be able to come back to New York, yo. You gotta.
I like New York. New York's a great place. I'm just saying London is better. I love New York. I love Brooklyn. You still, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pull up on you. You still gotta take me some spots in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? We going, we'll do our thing.
Nah, we're gonna see after you get out here soon. One thing just to digress from that conversation, I know that we had a conversation about some of the things that you're doing while balling in regards to building a profile and making sure that you're set for the next steps from a business standpoint. So, Geo, we discussed, obviously, always investing in yourself, reading, doing a lot of reading, doing a lot of seminars and things that continue to, keep a very broad mindscape about what we need to be aware of to put ourselves in the best position. We've discussed business opportunities as well, Jordan, on the side last summer, back out at the Big Ten tryout. What have you been focusing in on or reading, or how have you been self-improving over the last couple of months, to be able to set yourself up for the rest of your life once the ball stops bouncing?
And I mean, I'll start it off by saying, Geo specifically, I, obviously got to know you a little bit and admire you just going straight into life after basketball, because I think most hoopers would tell you whether they're ready to do that or not. That's a daunting challenge, just to have the confidence to hang them up and be able to and move what looks like effortlessly into new medium. So congrats to you on that. And obviously, Austin, like you said, we've talked business, and you have a lot of different things going on with finance and media. And but for me, it's been looking at the media angle. I've been reading a lot about the origins of the NBA from a media and entertainment standpoint for several reasons. I think the NBA is at an interesting crossroads right now with how the players control the league and how much control they have, and the relationship with the fans. Like you heard Kyrie Irving talk about how load management isn't a thing, and Adam Silver kind of backed them up on that. But there seems to be an issue. The NBA doesn't seem to like these guys forcing trades and stuff like that. And I've been reading up on that because here in London, the BBL, I've got to know the CEO of the BBL. They're trying to build something similar. He comes from the CEO, Aaron Radin. He comes from the NBA back in the day. He worked at CBS. He worked at NBC, Meta. And they're trying to build, the league up here, trying to get TV deals and turn it into a profitable league, which most people don't know. Overseas, most of these teams are not profitable. Even the Barcelonas, the Madrids, the teams paying $900 million a year plus to guys, they're losing money just because on the business side of things, the EuroLeague just they just aren't taking advantage of things in the best way. And it's something that they're working on. But for me, getting with the idea to get into media, hopefully at the Big Ten or wherever, I think it's important to kind of know the history of how the NBA started, why the Big Ten is going with NBC, why they're leaving ESPN, how it's going to work with the games being on Peacock as opposed to ESPN, and what that's going to do for the fan base. If it's going to, are you going to lose fans from a national standpoint? Because you guys know, if you turn on, a lot of people will just turn on ESPN, see Rutgers, Wisconsin, or see, whoever. But now if that's not an option, you have to go to the streaming site. Then it's like, are people gonna pay the $4.99 to do that? And a myriad of other issues, but also benefits that come with that. So long-winded answer, but for me, just trying to read up on how the business of streaming works. Obviously, we all have podcasts now as well, and then just the history of media and entertainment in sports.
Love it. That's dope, man. Did you get a chance to tune into All-Star Weekend? Mac McClune obviously did his thing. He committed to Rutgers at one point and then decommitted.
And then I was going to give him my jersey. I was going to give him my jersey number, and then he decommitted.
What happened? Do you understand what happened with that? He just wanted to go to different batches?
Someone just tweeted this at me too, like for some like inside information. To this day, there's no story to it. He was committed on his visit. I was his host. He was committed on his visit. The next day, he texted me this long paragraph just saying, like, look, it got nothing to do with you. I just want you to know that. So, like, you don't think it has anything to do with you, but I'm decommitted. I was like, all right. The coaches called me. I remember Coach Young, the assistant coach for Rutgers, that's how he called me. He said, Geo, in my career as a college coach, I've never had a kid decommit once. What the fuck did you do? I'm like, Coach, I ain't do shit. Like he had a great time last night. So I don't know, man. But yeah, congrats to him though. He killed in the dunk contest. But yeah, that hurt me for a little bit for hosting recruits. I ain't get a lot of host money after that for a little bit. So
damn, you took him to the wrong bar, bruh.
Yeah.
Tell him kick rocks, man. Forget him.
Yeah.
Nah,
That's
shout out
crazy,
to the
yeah.
contest, man.
Dunk contest was dope, man. We got to get Zion and Ja back, and dudes that actually have the names and the noteworthiness back in the dunk contest.
Yeah, man.
And as a LeBron proponent, I will say that one of his deficiencies is he started this whole theme of not partaking in the dunk contest, and these young dudes follow suit. So we need Zion back.
But
We need Ja back.
was Bron ever a dunk contest guy though?
In the Mickey D's game, also
but
he
that
was
man-
doing some very pedestrian dunks.
That's what I'm
But he
saying.
was
Man was just
just-
jumping really high and dunking really hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. How do you think Ja would fare? Obviously, we know Zion would win it, I think.
I don't know if Zion would win it.
I don't.
You don't think some of
know.
those dunks that this dude used to do on like the Hoop Mixtape-esque Instagram stories?
I don't think Zion's beating Mac if Mac's in it.
I don't know how much more Matt could do at this point. I think
whoa there.
he emptied the clip.
You think he could beat Mac?
He emptied the clip
Sesame,
last night.
yeah.
What else could he do? What else could he do?
Have y'all not seen what this dude was doing in high school?
He said he
Yeah, I've
had
seen-
two or
I've seen
three.
what
He
Matt
said he
did.
had two or
His mixtape
three
was
dunks
crazy.
that's never been seen before. I think he let them out last night.
I don't know if he did.
Nah, Mac. I mean, Mac was a viral. Like, to be honest, I thought he was. I didn't know he could hoop the way he does. To be honest, like I thought
Yeah,
he was
that's-
just a
yeah.
House of Highlights dude at
Right.
one point. But, yeah, nah. Zion could beat Mac for sure.
I don't think he would. Not right now. Not after all the injuries. I don't think he would.
I think we're sleeping on Zion a little bit.
I don't know.
Ja would be interesting too, just because Ja is so. I think Ja's creativity could be kind of crazy the way he.
Yeah, he
the
might
way
pull some
hangs
crazy
in the
stuff.
Or
air.
does he have that LeBron effect? Have you seen Ja in a dunk contest, or is he a game dunker?
I think he's a game dunker, but I think it looks different. I think it looks different when you 6'8", dunking the ball hard versus Ja 6'2", 6'3", 170, hanging in the air the way he. Like I think he'd be able to pull some things out where you like, oh my, that just looks crazy. It looks better when you small and you dunk it like that.
Yes and no.
No,
I think Aaron Gordon proved that to be different.
Well, that's because
Eric Gordon's
that dunk
creativity is
contest
crazy,
was
though.
just insane.
But he's 6'9", to the point of him going up against Zach LaVine, who is how tall?
He's 6'7",
Right, same height.
6'7". I mean, he's still
up there.
And Zach LaVine probably got robbed if truth be told. But that's neither here nor there. But LeBron, I'm just talking about if you don't have creativity, it looks better flying through the air. If you got creativity, it don't matter how big you are. But if you're
Agreed.
just going for power, then yeah, the smaller you are, the better it looks. Your vert hanging in there. I think that's like Matt. Part of his thing is he's small, so it looks better. Like I don't
I think
the
he's
dunks,
contorted his body and done enough 520s or 540s, whatever it may be, and enough variations with moving the rock around in the air that, like, at some point it's going to be something we've seen before. What else could he really do different from last night that will make us think, all right, that's wild. He deserves another crown in the NBA.
So what is Zion going to do that's different from?
He will run up to the rim and put his head on the square and break the rim off.
Yo, what are you talking about?
Zion is a freak of nature. I don't know if you remember some of these dunks that he was doing.
I understand, but like I don't know. From a creativity standpoint, I think Mac would have him beat.
I think he would be the perfect balance between creativity and dunking the ball hard enough that it would just be definitive. I think it would be something that we haven't seen probably since like Dominique Wilkins, to be honest.
I mean, you definitely. I agree with you. I think Zion would be interesting to watch, but it would be fun to watch. Zion might get injured, be out there at the dunk contest. To be, God forbid. But
This is what I'm saying. Like,
True.
To be honest, too, I don't even know if I should be critiquing dunk contests because I'm only dunking on Fisher Price, so I'll be out there giving everybody 50s. Like, wow, like that's
We all Monday morning quarterbacks, bro, when it comes to all these
Yeah,
topics. So you already know how it goes.
Nah, Geo probably up above the rim still, man.
no, I didn't have one dunk my senior year. My
You had
fifth
one?
year, I had one dunk. I went from dunking once a game to not one dunk in my fifth year.
Yeah.
That's what a college career will do to you.
I was straight
All
below the
those
rim.
hang cleans and
cleans, yeah.
squats.
Olympic lifts.
I'm still feeling it today, bro. Playing a manager's game the other day and need a bacchiotomy, bro. My whole back all messed up, bro. Ever since that game.
Yo,
Drawing. Yeah, pause. Anyway, bro. Anyway, I know you coming with that energy, child.
Make sure you get down on the ground and stretch after this, man. You know what I'm saying? God damn. Oh, what you talking about? A backiotomy? What?
I was thinking the same. What are you talking about?
What is that? Hey, man, that's what y'all be doing in New York, though. That's y'all got it. Y'all got it. Hold on, no. You said you were Bron proponent. Which side of the argument was I on with the Bron and MJ thing? I was on Bron's side.
I don't want to get Ernest excited because I know that he's a LeBron.
Yo, he'll come on here too. Come right on.
A Jordan fan too.
I said we seen Half Baked.
Yeah, and also y'all obviously never seen Half Baked. Come on, bro. Dave Chappelle's the GOAT. If y'all don't know where the backiotomy is from, and culture yourself, young fella.
Where you live? Right near the beach, boy. Seen it.
Anyway, yes, your point was that Jordan was better than LeBron.
That's what I said?
That's what you said at the Barstool Sports bar in Chicago.
Oh, I think I said Jordan. I think I'll take Bron for my GOAT, but Jordan his legacy is going to be hard to top. Just the stories like Nike, Space Jam. Like you can't do Space Jam 2. Like he should have came up with his own movie if we being real.
Yeah, true.
Because it's like you can't. Jordan Space Jam is really a one take Drake type of movie if we being for real.
I feel you. You lucky that I'm getting told that we got to wrap this up, or we would be here all day, bro. But I want to say first and foremost, I appreciate you jumping on the pod today. Although you came with a very aggressive Black Air Force energy, which was much needed and appreciated.
Much appreciated. Yeah.
But
no doubt,
happy that RU got that dub, man. What you reaching for, bro? Don't be reaching for nothing.
All black, you know what I'm saying? All black with it. All black. Let me get the saying all black.
Looking like dark. A bruv, straight bruv now, bro.
No, they can edit
regardless,
that out.
Good.
Good.
maybe we'll see you guys at some point in the NCAA tournament or the Big Ten conference tournament again soon, and we'll have you back on. But regardless, brother, stay safe, stay healthy, and we want to appreciate and thank you guys for joining on this episode of the Are You Listening podcast. And we'll be back next week to talk about how RU did against Michigan. And what's after that, Geo? Who we got after that?
Penn State. We at Penn State.
At Penn State. So we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Talk soon.
Beyond the Big Ten is a network of podcasts that aims to be your go-to resource for all things Big Ten. We cover the entire conference with shows hosted by ex-players and athletic alumni, aiming to be your go-to source of information and entertainment for your favorite team. Hosted by ex-Big Ten players, media, and insiders, our podcasts are focused on giving diehard fans and those alums an inside scoop about the teams and people that make the Big Ten Conference one of the most watched and most talked about conferences in sports. We're excited to talk Big Ten basketball with you wherever you may be. Subscribe now.